What if the moment that made you most uncomfortable was actually love trying to show you the truth? What if the thing that caught you off guard, the unexpected, the uninvited, the unplanned, wasn't a mistake at all? What if it was a mirror? What if someone stepping into your space, wearing your robe, standing in front of you without apology? What if that wasn't disrespect? What if that was the most honest thing love had ever done to you? What if love doesn't knock? What if love doesn't wait for permission? What if love just shows up, wrapped in your own fabric, breathing your air, standing in your light, and whispers, "Let's stop pretending"? You've been pretending too, haven't you? Pretending you didn't feel it, pretending it wasn't real, pretending that the warmth in your chest every time they walked into the room was just nothing. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you will change the way you see love, boundaries, comfort, and truth forever. What if the most terrifying moment of your life was actually love introducing itself properly for the very first time? What if love had been living with you all along, sleeping in the next room, sharing your kitchen, borrowing your things, and you were so busy calling it convenience, calling it friendship, calling it normal, that you completely missed the moment love was standing right in front of you, wrapped in your own robe, dripping water on your floor, looking at you like you were the only person on earth? That is where our story begins. Not in a restaurant with candles, not under a sky full of stars, but in a hallway. Ordinary, fluorescent lit, slightly damp, where someone stepped out of your shower in your robe and said 3 words that split your world in half. Let's stop pretending. Now I want to talk about love. Not the love you see in movies, not the love that comes gift-wrapped with a bow, not the love that arrives with a grand speech and a perfect moment. I want to talk about the love that ambushes you. The love that doesn't give you time to prepare your defenses. The love that finds you in your most unguarded, most honest, most real moment and refuses to let you look away. Love. And I want you to hear this deeply. Love is the single most disruptive force in the entire human experience. It does not ask for your schedule. It does not care about your comfort zone. It does not care that you had everything perfectly organized, perfectly distanced, perfectly safe. Love walks in, dripping from your shower, wearing your robe, and it looks at you with those eyes and it says, "Enough of this performance. I see you. I've always seen you. Let's be honest now." That is what love does. Love doesn't sneak in through the front door with flowers. Love sneaks in through your daily routine, through the coffee made without being asked, through the blanket left on your side of the couch, through the laugh that sounds like home, through the silence that doesn't need to be filled. Love lives in the ordinary moments, and then one day, one completely random, completely unexpected day, it takes off its disguise and stands before you completely exposed and says, "Did you really not know? Were you really pretending you didn't feel this?" And the truth, the honest, painful, shocking truth, is that you knew. You always knew. You were just afraid of what knowing would cost you. Love. Let me tell you what love actually is, because we have been lied to for so long. Love is not safety. Love is not certainty. Love is the bravest act of vulnerability a human being can perform. When that person stepped out of that shower in your robe, they weren't just wearing fabric. They were wearing your trust. They were standing in the space you created for them. The space you never officially offered, but silently, secretly built. And they were saying, "I'm not going to pretend I don't belong here anymore." That takes courage. That takes the kind of courage that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Because to say, "Let's stop pretending," means admitting that you have been feeling something enormous, something overwhelming, something life-changing, and you have been swallowing it down every single day just to keep things comfortable, just to keep things manageable, just to keep from losing what you already had. But love, real love, reaches a point where it cannot be swallowed anymore. It rises up from inside you like water, like heat, like light, and it fills every single room, including the one with the shower running. And it becomes impossible to ignore. Love. And this one I need you to hold on to. Love lives in the details that we convince ourselves don't mean anything. It lives in the robe that you bought for yourself but somehow became theirs. It lives in the side of the bed that became their side without a single conversation. It lives in the playlist that started with your songs and ended with our songs. It lives in the groceries they bought that included your favorite things without you mentioning it. It lives in 100 tiny moments that you explained away. They're just thoughtful. That's just how roommates are. It doesn't mean anything. When every single one of those moments was love leaving you a clue, love writing you a letter, love trying to get your attention before it finally ran out of patience and stepped out of the shower and said, "Pay attention. This is real. Stop running from it." We do this, don't we? We explain love away. We minimize it. We rationalize it. We dress it in simpler clothes because the real thing, the actual, full-size, full-power version of love, is so immense, so consuming, so terrifying, that looking directly at it feels like looking directly at the sun. So we look away. We call it friendship. We call it habit. We call it coincidence. Anything. But what it actually is. And then one day it steps out of the shower in your robe and you have nowhere left to look. Love. And this is the one that will hurt a little. Love is also the thing we have been performing instead of living. We perform love. We go through the motions. We say the right things at the right times. We follow the script that the world handed us. The timeline, the milestones, the acceptable expressions. And we perform it so convincingly that sometimes we fool even ourselves. We pretend we don't feel more than we should. We pretend that proximity is just proximity and not longing. We pretend that caring this much about one person is normal and ordinary and nothing to worry about. We perform casual when everything inside us is catastrophic. We perform indifferent when everything inside us is on fire. And the person on the other side of that performance, they see through it. Love always sees through it. Love stands in your hallway in your robe and it calls your bluff and it says, I know what you're doing. I've been doing it too. And I'm done. Are you? That is the moment. That is the moment that changes everything. Not the candlelit dinner. Not the perfectly planned confession. The hallway. The robe. The dripping hair. The honest eyes. The 3 words that cost everything and gave everything back. Let's stop pretending. Love. And this might be the most important thing I say today. Love requires you to be seen without your armor, without your performance, without your carefully constructed version of yourself. And it requires you to let that be enough. The robe is a symbol. The robe says, I'm not dressed for the world right now. I'm not performing. I'm not prepared. This is just me, wet from the shower, standing in your space, wrapped in something that smells like you. And I am showing you the most unguarded version of myself because I trust you with it. That is what love asks of us. Not perfection. Not performance. Not the best version. The real version. The version that steps out of the shower and doesn't apologize for existing in your space. The version that says the honest thing, even when the honest thing is the most terrifying sentence in the English language. The version that looks at you, really looks at you. Past the roommate, past the routine, past the comfortable pretending, and chooses you anyway. Fully. Completely. Without the robe of pretense any longer. Love. And I will leave you with this. Love is not found. Love is recognized. It was already there. Living with you. Eating with you. Laughing with you. Sleeping 20 feet away from you. It was there in the ordinary Tuesday mornings and the unremarkable Friday nights and the long Sunday silences. You didn't find love in that hallway. You recognized it. You finally let yourself see what had been standing in front of you the entire time. Patient, persistent, wrapped in your robe, waiting for you to be brave enough to stop pretending too. And when you stopped pretending, when you finally said yes to what you'd been feeling all along, that wasn't falling in love. That was landing in love. Landing in something that had been there long enough to learn your habits, your silences, your favorite mug, the exact way you take your tea. Something that had grown quietly and completely between the ordinary moments of an ordinary life, until it was too big to live inside the word roommate anymore. That is love, not the lightning bolt. The slow, steady, undeniable rising. The thing that was always yours, wearing your robe, waiting for you to be brave enough to finally say, I know, me too. Let's stop pretending. Love does not always arrive with announcement. It does not always come dressed for the occasion. Sometimes it comes wrapped in your own robe, standing in your hallway, dripping water on your floor. And it asks you the most important question you will ever be asked. Are you ready to be honest? Are you ready to stop calling love by smaller names? Are you ready to stop performing safety when what you actually want is truth? Because here is what I know. The bravest thing you will ever do is not climb a mountain, not cross an ocean, not build an empire. The bravest thing you will ever do is stand in someone's hallway, in their robe, still wet from the shower, and say without apology, I feel this. I've always felt this, and I'm done pretending otherwise. That is love. Unplanned, unpolished, undeniable, and absolutely, completely, irreversibly real. Stop pretending you don't feel it.